Hello YouTube and fellow Star Wars collectors! On this episode of Toys Are the Way, we will be taking a look at one of my latest pickups, the Mandalorian speeder bike from the Shadows of the Dark Side. If you're new to the channel or a fan of Star Wars collecting, be sure to smash a like on this video, remember to subscribe, and make sure to ring that bell to stay notified. Welcome back everyone. As you can see, I've picked up another vehicle to add to my collection, and it is the Mandalorian speeder bike from the Clone Wars series. This vehicle was originally released in the Shadows of the Dark Side and came with a Mandalorian warrior figure. That figure was decent for the time, but it was done in the animated style, and the articulation is nowhere near as good as these modern vintage collection representations. This past year has been excellent for world building our Mandalorian Clone Wars displays. We've gotten a number of fantastic figures, such as these Mandalorians and airborne Death Watch troopers, allowing us to really world build our Siege of Mandalore displays. This speeder bike is definitely a bit pricey on the aftermarket, so something small like this would be fantastic to get back into the vintage collection. Additionally, I would love to see Bo-Katan's Gauntlet. Those Mandalorian starfighters are very unique, look very cool, and that would be a fantastic vehicle to get into the line. But with that being said, let's take a closer look at this vehicle and all of its features. Taking a closer look at the speeder, we have some nice detailing and paintwork throughout. There's not much to say about this vehicle. It's a very sleek and simplified design, but all in all, I think it looks fantastic. The best paintwork is definitely on the control panel here. The color used is a very vibrant and rich yellow, and I think it almost looks like an illuminated light panel in my opinion. So that definitely worked for me. There's also some really nice sculpting here on the seat. It almost looks like, bunched up leather. So I think that looks really nice. And all in all, there's just some nice paintwork. Lots of geometric shapes that are just painted in very well. And overall, I think the speeder looks fantastic. The only downside is on the reverse side. You have some exposed hardware here, which, doesn't look fantastic. It would have been nice if that was hidden better, but all in all, it looks okay. It doesn't really take away too much from the vehicle. Looking at the front, you have a pretty decent grille. Maybe this could use some weathering here or just, some kind of other detailing, but these speeders were definitely very simple in the series. Taking a closer look at the pedals, they have some foot pegs on them, but unfortunately that peg is a bit too large for this modern vintage collection figure to actually fit onto it. Additionally, you may have seen other reviews that the pedals are definitely a little too far forward. The previous figure definitely had some issues riding this vehicle. It doesn't grip the handlebars very well, and of course the pedals are too far forward for the feet to lay on them. This new vintage collection figure definitely grips the handlebars very well, so that's fantastic. And when you get modern articulation that's, up to standards, that's always something good. The feet still can kind of reach there, but they definitely just can't lock in place. It looks convincing enough to me, and I don't really need it to lock into that peg, but it would have been nice if maybe these were, just designed to be a little further back, just to, kind of rest there, but all in all, it doesn't bother me. The pedals don't really move. They're kind of just glued in place, so not anything you want to mess around with. You don't want to break that. The handlebars are a bit of a softer plastic, nothing like we've been seeing in some of the vintage collection releases these days, but they have a little bit of movement to them. And like I said, the figure can grip those very well. This little panel here is removable for some reason. You don't really want to take that off. I've seen these on the aftermarket with those missing, so definitely something you don't want to miss or lose. Taking a look at the underside, we have this little kickstand here, which comes out, which is very nice. It's got a little bit of paintwork on it. The nice thing about this kickstand is it's very sturdy. It's not very loose, so you can kind of adjust it and get different angles for when you prop this up, which is kind of cool. Definitely would have been nice if this was a clear plastic. That would have been very cool to see. And then down here you have this laser cannon, which you never really saw in the show. It's nice that it's there, I guess. But the main purpose of that is, I guess, for this string, which if I unwind that, you can see that it's still kind of fed through this little hole, and then it's knotted down here. And that is for this compartment in the back, which has a pair of binders, which is kind of cool. It's a neat feature. You can pull it out and then drag your prisoner along. So not a bad feature. I think it's actually pretty cool. I think the string could have been tucked away somewhere differently. That's the only thing that bothers me, is that it's attached to the cannon. The binders themselves are made of a nice soft plastic, so you can definitely get this onto a figure pretty easily, and all in all, they look pretty decent. And like I said, all you have to do is just pull the string back, insert those, and then tuck the binders away. So not a bad feature, but it is definitely a little frustrating that you have to kind of wrap this around and then feed it back in there and kind of tuck it away. So not the best, but not too bad. First seen in the Clone Wars episode, The Mandalore Plot during Season 2, Episode 12, these speeder bikes were docked in Previously's hangar and used by Obi-Wan to spy on the Death Watch. Later seen in multiple episodes on Mandalore, the speeder bikes were an extra means of transportation for these warriors and offered an alternative to their jetpacks. With the addition of the recent Vintage Collection Death Watch Airborne Trooper, these speeder bikes were a must-have for me. While the bike is far from complicated in its design, when paired with the figure, it makes for a stunning display. Many fans would agree that the Vintage Collection would benefit from more vehicle releases, specifically small and affordable options. A re-release of this Mandalorian speeder would be a welcome addition for many fans who've amassed a sizable Death Watch army. I hope you've enjoyed this video and taken a closer look at my recent pickup, the Clone Wars Mandalorian speeder from Shadows of the Dark Side. And don't forget to drop a like on this video and subscribe if you're new to the channel. It really helps and is always greatly appreciated. Thanks everyone, and may the Force be with you.